When I began art therapy with Safe Space, I was in a place where I'd been bounced around through various different therapists through the NHS and never really found anything that I felt was really addressing the issues that I was having at the time. It was almost like something was stuck that I couldn't put my finger on, and nothing that I was being given to help with that was really doing anything. Ultimately, I was referred through to Safe Space in some sort of a hope that I would find a therapy there that was not only targeted more towards specializing in the experiences that have brought me to therapy in the first place, but also hopefully have a different approach to things, where so far I'd find myself really struggling to find support that felt at least appropriate. This here being the first image that I made during art therapy, I felt that this one represented how I've felt pretty much for my entire life, where I never really felt like I had my own identity as a person. I felt that as an individual, I'd always been told who to be and told how to behave and what to like and what to not like. I never really felt like I had my own face in that sense. And this picture is basically a representation of that. And alongside not having my identity, it also shows the pressure to put on a fake smile, to pretend to people on the outside looking in that actually everything's okay and nothing's wrong, which again is something that became a feature of the majority of my life, unfortunately. This is the second image that I made in art therapy. And for this particular one, it was decided between myself and my therapist that we would, both of us, as an exercise, try to create something on the paper using our non-dominant hand and not looking at the paper itself, and just basically seeing what came out at the end without really any real focus to it. Whilst it was a confusing and funny in equal parts experience to have, it ultimately became a fairly revealing one. In this one, I attempted to draw a typical sky scene, but with an eye in the sky watching down on everything that the character is doing. Then I drew a small boy representative of myself and a car in the background. And whilst there wasn't necessarily any inherent meaning in the scene itself, it did help bring up and sort of bring out a lot of feelings about my own childhood, and still feeling very much like that there's a large amount of that side of me still there that I need to address and get into touch with to some degree, and reconcile with a lot of the experiences that I missed as a child. And obviously the abuse situation that I found myself in throughout all those years, it effectively made me have to grow up very quickly. And it's something that I do feel very much like I had taken away from me, and I was missing and still am missing in my life to some degree. The third image that I made in art therapy, I feel very much carried on from the theming of the previous two, being an image that once again connects back to the childhood side of me, but also the part of me that felt like it had no identity and was almost apart from the rest of the world. And in this picture, it is a small child, again, representing me, with no face other than just a pair of sad eyes looking down at a glowing, warm orb of some description. In the picture itself, it's the only thing in the picture really with color to it. And the ball, that represents the rest of the world, the good things that people have, the good experiences that people have, the things that many people potentially take for granted and that just weren't really present in my childhood. family holidays and just receiving, support for kicking a ball or just these simple little things that bring that warmth and light to a child's life that I never really had. And all I could really do was look at that existing in the lives of other people around me, but it simply not be present in mine. So in this picture, it's the young, faceless me looking on at all of the light and the warmth in the world and just wishing a little piece of it could be mine. I had my skepticism in the beginning, but after taking part in art therapy, I found that it was actually a really good way of being able to freely explore the feelings and thoughts and experiences that I have and that I've been through in a way that felt a lot more safe and supported and non-threatening than any other type of therapy I've taken part in really has. It stripped away the clinical feeling that I've often received from other services. With art therapy, that clinical feeling is just not there. I felt from day one that the sessions that I took part in were very much on equal footing, and in actual fact, the ability to sit and make art either on my own or with my therapist, and to be able to combine that with the ability to just talk about whatever I needed to talk about. I actually found some of the most beneficial therapy that I've received to date, and have taken a huge amount away from it, both in new ways for me to look at elements of my life, but also taken away ways to be able to use my own creativity to be able to take the edge off some of the anxiety and trauma that I've experienced on my own as well. I feel that my experiences with Sheffield Mind, Safe Space, and in particular with the art therapy provided, were at every stage overwhelmingly positive. The assessment itself, at least, was designed in such a way to give me enough information on what to expect from art therapy to dispel a few of the misconceptions that I may have had, and to basically give me the ability to make an informed choice as to whether to move forwards with that or whether to find something that felt more suitable for me at the time. And I mean, ultimately, with me being here talking now, I mean, clearly I accepted the art therapy with no regrets. But I do feel that being given that information and the ability to choose rather than feel like I was being hurried along into something made it a lot easier to open up to and experience something that was very new to me at the time. Once starting the therapy, it became very clear to me how important art therapy actually can be for some people. It was a way of making something that ordinarily would have been hard for me to go through and would have left me with a lot of anxiety and stress on the lead up and lead out from each session, became something that I could look forward to, and it contained an element which I could enjoy to offset a little bit of that discomfort of talking about the things that I needed to share. And not just that, but within the artwork itself, be able to find a little bit of hidden meaning that allowed me to tap into things that perhaps weren't so obvious to me on the surface. So honestly, I don't think that I would be where I am now with my mental health in a state and at a stage where I would say overwhelmingly that I feel improved. I honestly don't think I'd be here right now were it not for the services provided by Safe Space. And as I say, specifically the art therapy that I was offered. For many survivors, it is invaluable, and for some at the most extreme, potentially even life-saving.